This recall was intended to be an off-year, off-month election for a reason, because they think you won't turn out. They think you won't show up. They think you won't turn in these ballots. But I have all the confidence in the world on the basis of not only your attendance here today, but the extraordinary work you've been doing over the course of the last few months, that we will defeat this Republican-backed recall.
That was Governor Gavin Newsom during a rally in Sun Valley Sunday opposing the recall against him. California voters will decide tomorrow if Newsom should be removed from office. 46 candidates are looking to replace him. 24 of them are Republicans. President Biden is set to join Newsom for the final hours of his campaign today. Tomorrow is the last day to vote in the election. The latest polls are trending in Newsom's favor. A recent survey by the Hoover Institution and Stanford University's Lane Center in partnership with YouGov estimates 57% of likely voters will vote no on the recall. Only 43% said they will vote yes. For more on this, let's bring in Adam Brewster. Adam is a CBS News reporter covering special elections and midterms. Hi, Adam. So let's start with President Biden's visit. What could it mean for Governor Newsom's campaign?
Certainly it shows how seriously Democrats are taking this race, with the head of the party, the President of the United States, going out to California to campaign for Governor Gavin Newsom on the eve of this recall. Certainly, many people have voted. More than 7 million people have already turned in their ballots. But it just shows the effort that Democrats are going in a heavily Democratic state to make sure that they win this election. We've seen other national figures, former President Obama, Vice President Kamala Harris, Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. You sort of run the whole spectrum, the ideological spectrum of the Democratic Party there, who have basically said, California is an important place, for Democratic politics. It is a place where Democrats are strong. Democrats need to show up to vote, or else this is an election, that Democrats could lose. And they have all, sort of said, what is on the line is the progressive agenda, how Democrats have handled the pandemic, how Democrats want to address the issues with regards to climate change, with regards to abortion rights and those sorts of things. Those are some of the themes that we can probably expect President Biden to touch on today on the eve of this, just to sort of fire up any Democratic base who may still be considering whether or not they want to participate in this election.
And Adam, so many elections hinge on those undecided voters. What are both Democrats and Republicans doing to get support from those voters, or do they figure, hey, if they're undecided at this point, they're probably not going to be enthusiastic enough to head to the polls?
Well, I think that, that's certainly a possibility for anyone who may be undecided at this point, at least on question one, right? There are two questions on the recall ballot. Should Gavin Newsom be recalled and removed from office? And then who should replace him? And on that first question, the should Gavin Newsom be recalled and removed from office, a poll from Cal Berkeley last week showed that just 1.4% of likely voters were still undecided on that question. Now, you never know what can happen within the final stretch. That's certainly why you've seen Gavin Newsom and other Democrats going around the state, spending ads, taking this effort very seriously, despite the fact that polls have been trending in their favor. You also mentioned that Hoover Institute poll showing strong numbers for Governor Newsom in the introduction here. But certainly, on that second question of who can replace him, there seem to be some more undecided voters. Now, people can say they do not want to see Gavin Newsom recalled and still vote for a potential replacement in the event, that he is recalled. So there may still be a little more wiggle room there to persuade people to say, I am the best candidate should he be recalled. But the numbers and the data show that there don't necessarily appear to be many likely voters who are still undecided about how they're going to be voting on question one. Of course, we will start to learn the answer to that tomorrow night and then possibly in the days to come.
Absolutely. And Adam, some Republicans are already questioning the integrity of this recall, even though we're still early days. What is behind these claims?
Well, certainly this is something that we've seen from certain sections of the Republican Party for more than the past year, right? These claims did not start on November 4th, 2020. Former President Trump was making claims of fraud well before the election, sort of sowing those seeds of doubt and planting those sorts of concerns. Now, last week you saw Larry Elder, a conservative talk show, conservative, syndicated columnist, sort of say that he doesn't want to see, he's worried about shenanigans in the election. He kind of walked that back a little bit in an interview with CBS News' Major Garrett, saying, there won't be enough shenanigans to overcome any sort of, there's enough momentum for this recall, essentially, to say that, there won't be an amount of shenanigans that overcome that. And they've sort of latched on to isolated reports of potential irregularities or concerns. And, those types of things do happen in every election. But in terms of, widespread fraud, certainly we have not seen any evidence of that going back to 2020. We've discussed that many, many, many times, and no evidence of any widespread sort of issues in California leading up to Election Day.
And of course, Adam, this recall isn't just about the governor and the effort to remove him. There are other political considerations. What are some of the potential consequences of this recall election?
Well, certainly it is a test for how Democratic governors handled the pandemic. It is a first, major test in the post-presidential election era. Certainly this recall was born during the pandemic, right? There was that famous photo of Gavin Newsom eating at an exclusive Napa Valley restaurant, maskless, when he was telling people to stay home. And that sort of helped spur this effort and turn it into actually getting the recall on the ballot, right? This is not the first time that Gavin Newsom's political opponents have tried to recall him, but it was the first time that the question has reached the stage, where voters will be weighing in on it because they got enough signatures. So it's something that, sort of came out of his pandemic restrictions and the way he handled that. And it's kind of come full circle back to that with, the Delta variant causing the problems that it still is in California. And Gavin Newsom saying to his voters and Democrats and even some independents who like the job that he's done handling the pandemic, saying, if you want to keep going the way we've been going, you can keep me in office and we will keep doing the things we do. Or, if someone else wins and if I am removed, California is going to take a sharp right turn. So certainly there are other Democrats and Republicans who will be facing that in the next year or so. Phil Murphy in New Jersey, another Democrat-leaning state, will be facing a similar test in November this year, and certainly next year there will be many, many governors, whether that's Ron DeSantis or Greg Abbott on the Republican side of how they handled things, or whether that's someone like Gretchen Whitmer or Tony Evers in Wisconsin and Michigan. There will be a lot of those tests next year. Certainly Democrats are hoping to, this is a state where they have a large advantage over Republicans, and they're hoping to put this recall effort behind them and continue to move on. If Republicans are able to pull off an upset tomorrow in California, certainly that would raise a lot of eyebrows nationally for Democrats about the way they've handled things and their prospects heading into 2022.
Absolutely. Adam Brewster, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tanya.
And CBSN will have live Election Day coverage of the California recall vote. You can stream that right here on CBSN starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern.